Hello people of the internet, Rogue Spotter here. This will be an Invincible fans review on Omni-Man in Mortal Kombat 1. Omni-Man was the first guest and DLC added to Mortal Kombat 1, being fully playable on November 9th for Combat Pack owners, and was available for standalone purchase on November 16th. The legendary J.K. Simmons returns from the Amazon Prime show to voice Omni-Man in Mortal Kombat 1.
Finally, a worthy challenge.
I guess to start, let's talk about the general look. Without a movie or live action counterpart, Omni-Man looks phenomenal. The base design is legitimately perfect, and when that live action movie is made, the costume department needs to take inspiration from Mortal Kombat 1. So for general design and look, I gotta say, Omni-Man gets a 10 out of 10. I wouldn't change anything about him, honestly. We'll also look over his ladder ending to see how well it goes with him as a character. Nolan explained Shang Tsung brought him into the timeline to turn the tide of the battle. Nolan, however, dispatches him almost instantly. However, the way Nolan talks about wanting to give the Mortal Kombat universe to the Viltrum Empire shows this Nolan might be a version of the Amazon show rather than the comics. Dialogue with other characters shows this as well. It should also be noted the ending also implies Nolan was hoping to avoid a confrontation with Mark, or at least hoping that he was strong enough to defend Earth. This ending is good for Nolan due to the almost open-endedness it has, and for an early on point for his story, I think it was an overall accurate version. However, he does not get a perfect 10 out of 10 due to some dialogue that feels out of character for him.
Perhaps I'll keep you and your daughters as pets.
Pets? For that, you will die.
House. Tainted blood. Who would breed with you?
I've no interest in breeding, you thug!
So with those weird lines, I'm gonna have to give Omni-Man's writing portrayal a 9 or maybe an 8.5. It's just weird for Nolan to be this way. I fully think that the writers misunderstood that scene. Nolan is not like that in the show, as he does care for Debbie and Andressa, so it's just very strange choice to do. Okay, now with that review of the character over, we're going to be discussing references that I found while playing as Omni-Man. However, I'm just letting you know there will be spoilers for the eventual future of the show, so be warned. Starting off is War at Home, which is Nolan's classic attire, as well as a reference to Volume 19 of Invincible, which shares the same name. Nolan's second shader is called Still Standing, a reference to Adam Eve as well as the 12th volume of Invincible. This is the first spoiler warning of the video, you have been warned. Viltrumite Warrior is a reference to Oliver Grayson, aka Kid Omni-Man. The next color palette we will be looking at is The Death of Everyone, which is a reference to volume 18 of Invincible, as well as Nolan's Viltrumite attire. The next Omni-Man shader is The End of All Things, which is a reference to volume 24 and 25, as well as a reference to... Disappointingly, Nolan's gear has no real references except for one, and that goes to Father Figure, which is the final gear unlocked for him. This is a reference to... And now for the part of the video I'm most excited for, Omni-Man's brutalities and fatalities. We'll be starting off with my favorite brutality, You Got Boned, which is a 1-to-1 creation of Darkwing's death. Omni-Man's grab brutality is a reference to how he killed War Woman in the show. The Coming Through brutality is a reference to how he killed a GDA agent. The Like Putty fatality is an almost 1-to-1 recreation of Red Rush's death, up until it gets even more brutal with the opponent losing their eye, Omni-Man detaching the head, and then stomping on it after pushing it through the opponent's chest cavity. This makes an already brutal death even more gruesome. And now to talk about one of the arguably greatest guest fatalities in the history of Mortal Kombat, Trained Killer. First things first, hats off to Robert Kirkman and the NRS team. This lovingly and brutally recreates the horrific scene from the finale and deserves all props. Omni-Man as a guest character is simply perfect. and I legitimately think he is a top contender for the best guest character in Mortal Kombat history. From the animations, the voice acting, the character design, he simply cannot be compared to anyone except for maybe Spawn and the Predator. And if Injustice 3 is the next NRS game we get, you better believe my top contender for guest character is the man himself. Sorry. That was the last one. I promise. It's just, rule of threes. Yeah, I had to sneak one more in, but I do hope we get Invincible as a guest character in Injustice 3 if that gets made. I know guest characters are kind of a touchy subject in the Mortal Kombat community, but I'm glad Omni-Man is in this game, and I do want to thank Robert Kirkman and the NRS team for getting him in this game. I love seeing indie comics get love like this, and yeah, I'm glad Omni-Man made it into the game, and I really hope to see more guest characters from Image be added into Mortal Kombat, or more fighting games. That'd be cool. Hey, wait a minute, what was that? Well, this is certainly something. Okay, well, let's see where this goes. Okay, I guess this is why you don't step into strange green portals. Well, while I try to figure out where I am, be on the lookout for the next video where I talk about every Invincible cosmetic in Fortnite.